Hi everyone, my name is Obi. I'm the CEO of Connectus Global, and today, it's not about me, it's about Pierre. So thanks so much, Pierre, to be there.
Hi, Vasily. Thanks a lot for welcoming me.
Cool. So Pierre is our fellow and is one first people trust and connects all the time. Is there for us, and today we will share is the Strapi story because it's the easiest CEO of Strapi. For little context, we do right now this week the DFCHack, the Diversity for Crisis Hackathon, the first global diversity hackathon ever organized by anybody. So we are exciting because it's a historical moment. Like we are more than 20 nationalities in the same room, 100 people. Yeah, just crazy. And three time zone, like for since Wednesday, I not sleep well because like when I sleep a little bit, I must to be away because like I'm running from the time zone of Asia and also for the time zone of Europe and the time zone of America. So just crazy, just crazy. So just a question for you before you start. So why you involve so much in on diversity? Because many people don't care about that, but you like this topic and you involve all the time when you have time. You involve, you give your opinion, you share your opinion, you share your thought. Why you are so involved in this this topic?
Yeah. I'll explain a little bit more what is Strapi. But basically, we are building a content management system which is open source and used all over the world. And what made made Strapi so successful, so good, is that we get feedback from users from all over the world. And it's because the community is diverse that we can build such a good product, and it is extremely important for us. And so that's something we also want to do internally. So we really want our team to be as diverse as our community. So that's why it's really important to us.
Cool. So I will don't take a lot of your time because right now it is your time. So I will disappear, and if you can share right now your screen, and you people can now see what is happening right now on this amazing topic we will share about how to create a open source community. So can you share your screen, please?
Yeah, sure.
Cool. So very exciting for all people. We see the replay or see right now this amazing moment. Catch what, because you will learn how to create open sources and inclusive open source community. Just amazing, just incredible, just crazy. So thanks so much again, Pierre, to be there and share your experience. So see you.
Thanks a lot, Vasily. So just to start, a couple of words about Strapi. The idea is not at all to promote Strapi, but really to give you a little bit more context about what we are doing at Strapi. So Strapi is a content management system. Content management system is a software used to manage content, which will be then displayed on a website typically. So traditional CMSs have been around for a while. Most of them are useful to manage content on websites and desktops, but the content has now also to be displayed on mobile applications, on IoT, and even the way to create a website really changed over the past few years. So there is a new solution, which is the Headlight Cms. It's still a content management system, but the idea is that the Headlight Cms makes the content available to any platform. So that's really what we are doing at Strapi, and we built the leading open source Headlight CMS. So I really insist on open source because in most of open source software, open source software is really built around communities. So happy to give you a little bit of feedback about this. And we at Strapi, we really have a global community with users in more than 200 countries. So yeah, we do have to be inclusive, and diversity is definitely actually in the DNA of the community. And so how to create an inclusive open source community? So I would start with open source specifically. So the good thing with open source is that it really helps with building a diverse community. because open source is open by default. So all of the source code we develop it in the open. So it's easy for anyone to see what the product look like, what the source code look like. They can use Strapi for free. And I say Strapi, but it could be any other project. So that's really helpful to build a diverse community. And the other thing is that any open source is global by design as well. So there is no limit. Anyone from anywhere can use it. So it removes any barrier. And also, transparency is part of any open source project. So projects are not only developed in the open in terms of code base, source code, but also discussions, project management, issues, pull requests, all of the things are also managed in the open. So it is much more inclusive for everyone because everyone gets access to the information. And I think it's really important also to have an inclusive language. That's something which is not possible in every community, but as much as you can, I think it's important when you build a community, open source or not open source, to get a very inclusive language. So most of the time it will probably be English by default because it is spoken broadly. But at the same time, having a single language can also be exclusive because some people in some countries maybe they didn't have the opportunity to learn English. So at the same time, it's an advantage, but it can also be an issue. So in open source communities, most of the time, projects are targeting developers. So most of the developers speak English because most of the software available are built in English. But again, that's something that you also have to be careful with. And also in the project itself, so if you're building open source software, it's important to provide in your product the ability to change the language in the product. So in the community, you will speak only with in English with your users, with your contributors. But if they install the product, then they need to be able to change the language to their own language. And as a contributor, as a maintainer of the project, you probably won't be able to translate your product in tens of languages because it's a lot of work. But the good thing with the open source is it can also help your product to be more inclusive because anyone can contribute to the languages. So anyone can become a translator of your own product. So they can make it more inclusive for people in their countries speaking the same language. Another thing which is really important, especially when it comes to open source, is to have a contributing guide. So as an open source maintainer, you have to encourage people to contribute to your project. And it's important to provide guidance to all of those contributors. So how can they install your product? How can they make an update in the product? And how can they submit a pull request, which means they submit a source code improvement that you will or not accept, but at least they can make this suggestion. So having a very clear contributing guide is extremely important. It really reduces friction for people to become from users to contributors. So that's something which is extremely important. And another thing which is maybe even more important is the code of conduct. So when you're building things in the open, with a community of thousands and thousands of people, you also want to make sure that people are, I would say, kind with each other. And so it is important to have a code of conduct explaining what behaviors you want in your community and what you don't want. So that's something that you can add in your open source project as well. So it's good to have a code of conduct, but it's even more important to make sure that this code of conduct is respected. So as a maintainer, you have to really stop inappropriate behavior. So when you see someone giving a very negative comments about a pull request that had been made, it's really your responsibility as a maintainer to make sure that this code of conduct is respected. That's the last one, but probably the most important one. So as an open source project, I mean, at Strapi, there are probably lots of things we can still improve. So we really try to make the community as diverse and included as possible. So at the moment, we don't really measure diversity. So it could be, for example, contributors based on their countries, based on their gender, based on other things. And at the same time, there are some data we just don't want to check because we want our contributors to keep very high privacy. But having at least the country, that's something that could be interesting. And also, I talked about translations in the product. It could be also good to measure how many languages are supported in the product. So the more language we have in the product, so you can use you would be able to use it in lots of different languages. That's something we could also measure. So that's pretty much it for my presentation. So just 2 fun facts and to explain how diversity and inclusion is important in the community. So we hired 2 people from our community. So Derek and Daniel have been contributors for a month and even years for Derek. And the good thing with open source is also that you have this very diverse community with very motivated people, and it's really nice to be able also to hire these people and also to as I said at the beginning of the talk, to have a team which is as diverse as the community. So we hired Derek who is in the United States, and also Daniel, who is in Zambia. And I think having a remote first team is also very helpful to be able to hire these people. Otherwise, if you have a very office-centric culture, these people have to relocate. But since we now work full remote, it's also something which is much more inclusive. So I'm not sure we can really interact through this presentation, but if you see this presentation in a replay, for example, feel free to add your comments, and I would be happy to answer. And thanks a lot for your time. So as for the hackathon, I am so available on Discord if you have any question. And good luck with the hackathon.
Cool. So thanks so much for your presentation. I have a couple of questions before I'll let you go on a Discord and like be there for some time to answer to the question, etc. And I will put also the link of the replay also everywhere. You know me, I will spread out. And I will mention you. I will make a post, a tweet. So first question I have for you is like how you manage the time zone difference, because
okay,
many people say, yeah.
With the community or with the team?
Yeah, with the community and the team, because you have before you was too much French centric, but right now you have offices in US, some people
Yeah.
in Africa. So how do you manage all these time zone difference?
Yeah, and actually, I think the answer would be the same for both the community and the team. So I think it's really important to have to write things as much as possible instead of having calls to discuss. It's also much more inclusive because some people who were sleeping when we were discussing about a specific topic, they can see the conversation and what we made this decision or another one, and they can also add their insights asynchronously. So I think it's having a written culture and to over communicate.
Okay. And about the culture difference. So, many times people say, "Oh, we do the French way." Some people talk about the English way or the American way. So, how do you handle the different ways? Because also you have the Indian way. You know what I mean? But we don't make some bad interpretation. But so, how do you handle the different way to have this unique culture? And it's not a national or country culture, but it's the stripy culture. Like I don't know if you say strapper, but every how we use this term, every strappers are the same culture. It's not like different culture for many. No, it's the stripy culture. How do you mix and up all this way and all this culture together?
Yeah, so we do use the word Strapi here. You were right. And so what is important is not to share the same culture, which is actually, first of all, not possible and not inclusive at all. What is really important is to share the same values and to be, just 100% aligned on these values and on the mission of the company.
Yeah, cool. So and also, how do you? Yeah, can you start? You are not done talking about that, but I'm we have some question and some people are curious. So how did you manage your? Yeah, first of all, talking about that, can you share a little bit your experience with the Connected Fellowship when you are going for the first time in Silicon Valley and you meet people? Can you explain this experience and what is magical with experience? All the time you remember, and our group, WhatsApp group, is all still maintained until 2018. Yeah, how did you? Can you explain that and what is the magic over there of this experience we have done together?
Yeah, sure. So the first experience we had together was so in 2018 when you organized this trip to San Francisco. And so we spent 1 week there visiting lots of different places, meeting lots of people, organizing several conferences, especially about diversity. So yeah, it was just an amazing week. I learned so much, and also with the other fellows who were there that week. So we not only spent a really good week together, but we even became friends, and we keep having a really good conversation about diversity, entrepreneurship, and all of the things. So it was a really good experience.
Yeah. So definitely, and so many people don't understand that. So that's why we are creating this the concept of fellowship. So, and we inspired from the concept in the US of fraternity and sorority, because most of the Silicon Valley people are come the same sorority and fraternity from Stanford, Harvard, Princeton. Because it is more better to do something, just not about business, but just do something with people is kind of friend, because he had the same belief system, the same value system, the same thought or mindset system, and a brain system, and these things make us more safe and more happy. Just it's just crazy how sometimes we remember all together on this WhatsApp the moment we are done together in the school. So then the another question I have is, okay, since after this travel, I saw that you are travel a lot, yeah, in Silicon Valley, and you know now how to do what to do, what to meet right now, and so can you explain now the shift, like go observe and now make the shift, and now you run a US one company with US offices, and and live between San Francisco and Paris.
Yeah, so I went several times to San Francisco after the time we went there. Obviously, that's much more complicated this year. But yeah, I mean, it's a bit challenging, but it's at the same time extremely interesting to have employees in France, also in the US, also in Zambia, Spain, etc. And so also when it comes to running a US-based company, you definitely have to go there at least several times a year, if not living there. So yeah, this first experience was really helpful to really understand how things work there, and yeah, that's different for sure. There are lots of energy in the Silicon Valley. So also we do have several investors in the Silicon Valley, so that's also helpful to go there sometimes.
Okay, and I think will now will be the like the third question before, or the fourth question before the last. Actually, so what do you think about this trend right now? The normal, this new normal is kind of the normal right now. So that means we are more remote culture than the past. In terms of remote culture, is not new for you, because before you Strapi, you have been many years freelancer. You work remote for several years, so that remote is not new, something new for you. But now you know that when you have some investor, people want to have some team in the offices, real offices, etc. So what do you think now of this trend? Do you think that remote will be the new norm? People will be accept the fact that, okay, we can work anywhere, is not important at all to be all the time in the same room, etc. So what is the difference between the same room or being just remote? So what do you think? Do you think you can mix, or something is more better than another in terms of modus operandi?
Yeah, I wouldn't say there's something better than another. It depends on the preferences of everyone. Some people prefer office work, some people prefer remote work. What I think is that there will be definitely more and more remote work in the digital in digital companies. That's for sure. Even at the end of the COVID. I think that's a good thing for lots of countries who are going to be able to more easily work with companies in countries like the US or Europe, and I think that's gonna create much more diversity in tech, for sure. So yeah, even if we like remote or not, this trend is going to be like this for a while, and that will be better for lots of countries.
Yeah, I totally agree with you, because right now with this concept of remote culture, that means you don't need at all to recruit somebody from another country to be in your offices. They can stay in their country, because you have a lot of administration staff for some country like France. Like it's very hard to recruit somebody from another country. It's more better to have this person on his own country than sending him in France, for example. Same for US. Like it's very hard. like for anybody, like for French, you know, right? So, like you can be European and so the American people don't care. Okay, you're European. Okay, so you can go, I don't know, in Asia or Africa to do what you want, or Latin America, but in US, like you are immigrant like anybody, right? So, and yeah, I think you're totally right. So, okay, what is your last word? What do you want to share to to some people who want to start open sources campaign? Because many people say, oh, open source is like Wikipedia, we can make money with that, or it's like Mozilla, we cannot make money with that. It's like, oh, non-profit. So what do you want to say to this kind of people who want to start open sources company and also make a inclusive open sources community? And share your opinion, your thought. You already share, but now more specific to say, okay, this is my story. I'm not the great ever example, but I think from my opinion, from my perspective, this is very important. This is a 3 key points to do what I do right now.
Yeah, so building open source projects take a lot of time, that's for sure. Also, you almost can't make money at the beginning because you first need to create a community of users, then start being used by enterprises, and then you will be able to sell additional features or support. So yes, it takes a lot of time, but there are also some very successful examples of companies based on open source projects. So it takes a lot of time, but it's definitely worth it because you can build global, very active communities all over the world, and it's also really helpful to become to create software used by thousands and thousands of people. So yeah, I would definitely recommend to anyone to start an open source project. It costs nothing except time. So yeah, just if you have an idea in mind, just write the first lines of code, publish the code on GitHub or any other platform, get your first users, and everything should be fine.
Cool. So thanks so much for your time. We know that you are busy as all people on this planet, and but you take your weekend again for many viewers right now, and for people who see the replay. This guy is just incredible. Many people take the why because it's the weekend, but he used this weekend to help you and give you his thoughts. It's just incredible. It's amazing. Thanks so much, Pierre, for your time, and yeah, see you.
Really happy to participate, and thanks a lot for having me, and congrats to you for organizing this hackathon and all of the other things you organize, and congrats to all of the participants.
Thanks.
Thanks a lot.